Hello everyone. Welcome back to the English Academy. I'm really happy that you are here today. I hope you are having a wonderful day. Now, let's begin today's inspiring journey. Ryan looked at his phone. 6:30 a.m. The alarm had been ringing for the last 20 minutes. He slowly opened his eyes. Then, he pressed the snooze button. Just 5 more minutes. He whispered. 5 minutes turned into 1 hour. When Ryan finally woke up, the room was already filled with bright sunlight. He sat on his bed and looked around. Dirty clothes, empty food packets, dust on the table, and unfinished books were everywhere. His room looked exactly like his life. Messy, unorganized, and forgotten. Ryan slowly walked towards the mirror. He looked at himself. His eyes looked tired. His shoulders were down. There was no smile. No excitement. No confidence. He quietly asked himself, "What happened to me?" There was no answer. Because deep inside, he already knew. Every single day was exactly the same. Wake up late. Check social media. Watch videos for hours. Eat. Sleep. Repeat. Every night. He promised himself, "Tomorrow, I will change." But tomorrow never came. Ryan was only 23 years old. But he already felt like life was leaving him behind. His friends were getting good jobs. Some had started businesses. Some were getting married. Some were traveling and creating beautiful memories. But Ryan was doing nothing. He wasn't lazy. Because he wanted to be. He was trapped. Trapped inside his own habits. Every morning, he wanted to wake up early. But he couldn't. Every evening, he wanted to exercise. But he didn't. Every night, he wanted to start reading books. But instead, he kept scrolling. One more video. One more reel. One more excuse. Day after day. Month after month. Nothing changed. One evening, Ryan's mother entered his room. She carried a small cup of tea. She looked around. She saw the messy room. She saw her son. And then, she smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. It was the smile of someone trying to hide pain. She placed the tea on the table. Before leaving, she softly said, "I still believe in you." Then, she walked away. Ryan didn't move. He kept looking at the cup of tea. Those 5 words echoed inside his mind. "I still believe in you." He closed his eyes. For the first time in many months, he felt ashamed. Not because someone insulted him, but because someone still believed in him, even when he had stopped believing in himself. That night, Ryan couldn't sleep. He kept staring at the ceiling, thinking, what if I never change? What if 5 years from now, my life looks exactly the same? The thought terrified him. The next morning, Ryan picked up his phone. Not to learn. Not to improve. Just to waste time. Like every other day. He opened social media. Started scrolling. 1 video. 2 videos. 10 videos. Nothing interesting. Then suddenly, he stopped. A short video appeared. An old man was standing on top of a mountain. He smiled and said, "If you cannot change your whole life, then don't." Ryan kept watching. The old man continued. "Just change the next 30 days. Ryan frowned. 30 days? The old man smiled again. Don't try to become rich. Don't try to become successful. Don't even try to become perfect. Just become 1% better. Every single day." Ryan watched without blinking. Then the old man said one final sentence. "If you keep living the same day, you will keep living the same life." Ryan froze. His thumb stopped moving. For the first time, he wasn't looking at the screen. He was looking at himself. And in that moment, everything started to change. Ryan slowly locked his phone. For the first time, he didn't feel distracted. He felt uncomfortable. That one sentence wouldn't leave his mind. If you keep living the same day, you will keep living the same life. Ryan stood up, walked toward his desk, opened an old notebook. Most of its pages were empty. Just like the dreams he had forgotten. He picked up a pen, took a deep breath, and wrote 30-Day Challenge. Below the title, he wrote 7 simple rules. Wake up at 6 a.m. Exercise for 30 minutes. Read 10 pages. No social media before breakfast. Drink enough water. Sleep before 11 p.m. And never quit. Ryan looked at the list. It didn't seem difficult. He smiled. I can do this. But sometimes, the easiest plans become the hardest battles. That night, Ryan placed his phone on the other side of the room. He filled a bottle of water, kept his shoes near the door, folded his workout clothes. Everything was ready. He looked at the clock. 10:15 p.m. Usually, he stayed awake until 2 in the morning, watching random videos. But tonight was different. He turned off the lights, closed his eyes, and whispered, "Tomorrow, a new life begins." Within minutes, he fell asleep. Beep. 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 The alarm rang. 6 a.m. Ryan slowly opened his eyes. His body felt heavy. His mind whispered, "Sleep. Just 5 more minutes." He turned toward the pillow. It felt warm, comfortable, safe. Then he remembered the notebook, the challenge. Day 1. He sat up, then stopped. His legs refused to move. His mind started making excuses. It's too early. You can start tomorrow. One day won't matter. Those excuses sounded convincing. Very convincing. Ryan looked at the ceiling. He almost gave up. Then he remembered his mother's words. "I still believe in you." He closed his eyes, counted slowly. 1, 2, 3. Then suddenly, he jumped out of bed. His heart was beating fast. Not because he was exercising. Because he had defeated his first excuse. A small smile appeared on his face. Day 1 had officially begun. Ryan wore his shoes, walked outside. The streets were quiet. The morning air was cold. Very cold. He wanted to go back. Back to his warm bed. Back to his comfortable life. But he kept walking. 5 minutes. 10 minutes. 15 minutes. His legs started hurting. His breathing became heavy. Sweat covered his face. He stopped. Bent down. Placed both hands on his knees. "I can't do this," he whispered. An old man, who was jogging nearby, stopped beside him. He smiled. Then asked, "First day?" Ryan nodded. The old man laughed. "It always hurts." "On the first day." Ryan looked at him. The old man continued. "But remember, your body isn't asking you to quit. It's asking you to become stronger." Those words felt powerful. Ryan stood up again and started walking. Slowly. Step by step. He didn't run. He didn't compete. He simply refused to stop. That morning, he completed his first 30-minute walk. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't impressive. But it was finished. And sometimes, finished is better than perfect. Ryan returned home. His t-shirt was completely wet. His legs felt weak. Every step was painful. But inside, something felt different. For the first time, he felt proud. Not because he had achieved something big, but because he had kept a promise to himself. He walked into the kitchen. His mother looked at him. She noticed the sweat on his face, the shoes, and the small smile he was trying to hide. She didn't ask any questions. She simply smiled. This time, it was a real smile. Ryan smiled back, without saying a single word. Sometimes, silence says everything. After breakfast, Ryan picked up a book. He looked at the first page. Reading had always been difficult for him. After just 2 pages, his mind wanted to quit. He reached for his phone, almost without thinking. Then suddenly, he stopped. No social media. Before breakfast, he remembered the 4th rule. He slowly pushed his phone away, took another deep breath, and continued reading. 1 page. Then another. Then another. 10 pages later, he closed the book. A small victory. But another victory. The day continued. Everything seemed normal. Until the afternoon. Ryan's best friend, Aman, called him. "Bro, come online. We're playing games." Ryan looked at his phone. He wanted to say yes. He really did. Playing games was his favorite escape. Aman laughed. "Come on. The challenge can start tomorrow." Ryan stayed silent. His finger hovered over the screen. 1 tap. That's all it would take. Nobody would know. Nobody. Except Ryan. He slowly locked his phone. And replied. Not today. There was silence. Then Aman said. You've changed. Ryan smiled. No. I'm trying to. As evening arrived, Ryan felt tired. Very tired. His whole body was asking him to rest. He looked at the notebook. Every task had a small check mark. Wake up early. Exercise. Read 10 pages. No social media. Drink enough water. For the first time in a very long time, Ryan completed everything he had planned. He looked at the notebook. Then whispered. Maybe I can actually do this. But life never changes without testing you. The next morning, the alarm rang again. 6 a.m. This time, Ryan didn't jump out of bed. He opened one eye. His body was in pain. His legs felt like stone. His back hurt. His shoulders hurt. Even sitting up was difficult. His mind smiled. I told you. This challenge won't last. Ryan stared at the ceiling. The excitement from yesterday had disappeared. Only pain remained. Then his eyes fell on the notebook. Only one page had been completed. 29 days were still waiting. Ryan took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and asked himself, do I really want my old life back? The room became completely silent. A few seconds later, he slowly placed both feet on the floor. His muscles screamed. His body resisted. But his heart made only one decision. Get up. And once again, Ryan stood, ready to fight another day. Ryan stood up. His body still hurt. Every muscle felt heavy. But today, he didn't wait for motivation. He simply started moving. That was the first lesson he was slowly learning. Successful people don't always feel motivated. They just keep going. Ryan finished his morning walk, came back home, took a shower, and sat quietly near the window. The sunrise looked beautiful. Strange. He had lived in this house for 23 years. But today was the first time he actually noticed the sunrise. He smiled. Maybe life had always been beautiful. He was just too distracted to see it. 3 days passed. Then 5. Then 7. Ryan never missed a single morning. Some days were easy. Some days were painful. But every evening, he placed another small check mark in his notebook. One by one, the empty pages started filling up. And with every check mark, his confidence grew a little stronger. One afternoon, Ryan met his old friends. They were sitting at a small cafe, laughing, talking, making jokes. One of them looked at Ryan, then laughed. So, you're a motivational guy now? Everyone laughed. Another friend smiled. How many days? Before you quit? Ryan forced a small smile. But inside, their words hurt him very deeply. On the way home, he kept thinking, maybe they were right. Maybe he would quit, just like every other time. That night, Ryan couldn't sleep. He opened his notebook. 7 check marks. Only 7. 23 days still left. He whispered, "What if I fail again?" The room was completely silent. Then his eyes fell on something. A small sentence he had written at the bottom of the first page. Never quit. He stared at it for a long time, then smiled. I don't need to finish 30 days today. I only need to win tomorrow. The next morning, Ryan woke up without the alarm. He looked at the clock. 5:48 a.m. For a second, he couldn't believe it. A week ago, waking up at 6 was impossible. Now, his body was waking up before the alarm. He laughed. Just a little. Small habits were slowly changing him. Around noon, Ryan received another message from Amon. Bro. Movie tonight? Ryan looked at the message, then looked at his notebook. He smiled. I'll come. But only after finishing everything. Amon replied. You're serious about this challenge? Ryan answered. For the first time. I'm serious about my life. That evening, Ryan completed every task again. Then, he went to watch the movie. For the first time, he enjoyed himself without guilt, because he had earned his free time, not wasted it. Walking back home, he realized something. Discipline wasn't stealing his happiness. It was creating a better one. But life was preparing a much bigger test. One test that would make Ryan question everything. And this time, it wouldn't be his body fighting against him. It would be his own mind. Ryan woke up. It was day 8. Everything seemed normal. The alarm rang. He got up, finished his walk, read his book, drank enough water. Every task was completed. He smiled. Maybe the hard part was finally over. He was wrong. Sometimes life doesn't test you when you're weak. It tests you when you're starting to become strong. That afternoon, dark clouds covered the sky. Heavy rain started falling. The weather became cold. Ryan looked outside. His mind whispered, tomorrow, you can exercise. It's raining. Nobody will blame you. For a moment, the excuse sounded reasonable. Very reasonable. He looked at his shoes. Then, at the window. Rain kept falling. Ryan took a deep breath, opened the door, and stepped outside. Within seconds, he was completely wet. The road was slippery. Cold wind hit his face. Every part of his body wanted to go back home. But he kept walking. Step by step. Minute by minute. People looked at him as if he was crazy. Maybe he was. Because ordinary people run away from discomfort. Extraordinary people walk through it. 30 minutes later, Ryan returned home. Wet, cold, shivering, but smiling. Because today, he didn't defeat the rain. He defeated his excuses. That evening, Ryan opened his notebook. He placed another check mark. Then he noticed something. The check marks were no longer just marks. They had become proof. Proof that he could change. Proof that he wasn't the same person anymore. He touched the first page and whispered, "I'm proud of you." It was the first time he had ever said those words to himself. The next day, Ryan's phone rang. It was Aman. "Bro, we're going on a short trip. 3 days. It'll be fun." Ryan stayed silent. A trip sounded exciting. Then Aman added, "Forget the challenge. You deserve a break." Ryan smiled. A week ago, he would have said yes, without thinking. Now, he asked only one question. "Can I continue my routine there?" Aman laughed. "Seriously? You've changed." Ryan replied, "No. I'm changing." There was silence. Then Aman said, "I hope you don't become boring." Ryan smiled and ended the call. Late that night, Ryan stood in front of the mirror. His body didn't look very different. He wasn't muscular. He wasn't fit. He wasn't perfect. But something had changed. His eyes. They looked alive. Confident. Hopeful. For the first time in years, Ryan could see a better version of himself. Not in the future, but slowly appearing every single day. He smiled. Then quietly said, "This challenge isn't changing my body. It's changing my mind." A few days later, something happened. Something Ryan never expected. The biggest test of the entire challenge was about to begin. And this time, it had nothing to do with exercise, or books, or waking up early. It was about a decision. One decision that could destroy everything he had built. Ryan closed his notebook. Tomorrow would be day 12. He felt different. Not because his life had become easy, but because he had stopped running away from difficult things. He smiled, then went to sleep. The next morning, his phone rang. It was his uncle. "Ryan, I need your help. There is an important family event today. You have to come." Ryan looked at the clock. 6:10 a.m. He hadn't finished his morning walk, or his reading. The event would take the whole day. His mind immediately found an excuse. You can skip just one day. No one will know. Ryan stayed quiet. Then he opened his notebook. He looked at 11 perfect check marks. 11 days. 11 promises kept. Was he really going to break everything for one excuse? He smiled, then called his uncle back. I'll come, but I'll be a little late. His uncle asked. Why? Ryan answered. I made a promise to myself. There was silence. Then his uncle laughed. I like that. Take your time. We'll wait. Ryan ended the call, put on his shoes, and stepped outside. The streets were empty. The sky was still dark. He started walking. Not because he wanted to. Because he had decided to. After finishing his walk, Ryan quickly returned home. Read 10 pages. Drank water. Took a shower. And left for the family event. When he arrived, almost everyone was already there. His cousin smiled. So, the fitness guy is here. Everyone laughed. Ryan laughed too. But this time, he wasn't embarrassed. Because he knew what they didn't. Every single day, he was becoming a little stronger. Not outside. Inside. During lunch, Ryan noticed something strange. Almost everyone was busy looking at their phones. Some were scrolling. Some were watching videos. Some weren't even talking to each other. Ryan reached for his own phone, then stopped. He slowly put it back into his pocket. Instead, he started talking to his grandfather for almost 30 minutes. His grandfather smiled, then said, people today have everything, but very few people have time. Ryan stayed silent. Those words touched his heart. Because only a few days ago, he was exactly like everyone else. Always online. But never really present. That evening, Ryan returned home. He felt tired. Very tired. He looked at his notebook. Another day completed. Another promise kept. He smiled. Then suddenly, his phone vibrated. A message from Amon. Bro, I heard you're still doing that challenge. Ryan replied. Yes. Amon sent another message. Let's make a bet. If you finish 30 days, I'll do it too. Ryan smiled. Then typed. Deal. He put his phone away and whispered. Maybe changing myself will help someone else change too. Ryan didn't know it, but that small message would become one of the biggest reasons he refused to quit. Because now, someone else was watching him. And tomorrow, everything would become much harder. The next morning, Ryan woke up with a smile. Today was day 13. He stretched his arms, drank a glass of water, and looked at his notebook. 12 perfect check marks. 12 promises kept. He smiled. This is working. For the first time, he truly believed he could finish all 30 days. But life has a strange habit. Just when you think everything is getting better, it gives you a bigger challenge. Around noon, Ryan received a phone call. It was Aman. His voice sounded serious. "Bro, I need you." Ryan immediately asked, "What happened?" Aman replied, "My dad has been admitted to the hospital." Ryan froze. Without wasting a second, he grabbed his bike and rushed to the hospital. When Ryan arrived, he saw Aman sitting alone. His eyes were red. He hadn't slept. Ryan quietly sat beside him. Neither of them said anything. Sometimes the best support is simply being there. After a few minutes, Aman spoke. "I'm scared." Ryan looked at him, then gently said, "Everything will be okay." Deep inside, Ryan wasn't sure. But hope is sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone. Hours passed. Doctors came. Nurses walked from one room to another. Ryan stayed there, without checking his phone, without complaining, without thinking about himself. Late in the evening, the doctor finally smiled. The surgery was successful. Aman closed his eyes. A tear rolled down his face. Then he hugged Ryan. "Thank you for staying." Ryan smiled. That's what friends do. When Ryan reached home, it was already 10:45 p.m. He was exhausted. He looked at his notebook, then at the clock. He still hadn't read his 10 pages. His body whispered, "Leave it. You've done enough today." His eyes were almost closing. But then he remembered something. Discipline is doing the right thing, especially when you don't feel like it. Ryan picked up his book. Read one page, then another. Slowly, 10 pages were finished. He closed the book, smiled, and placed another check mark. It was probably the hardest check mark he had earned. 3 days later, Ryan noticed something. He no longer reached for his phone. The moment he woke up, he no longer needed an alarm to leave his bed. Reading had become easier. Walking had become enjoyable. Small habits were quietly becoming his new identity. He wasn't forcing himself anymore. He was changing. Little by little. Day by day. That evening, while cleaning his room, Ryan found an old photograph. It showed a younger version of himself. Smiling. Laughing. Full of dreams. He looked at the picture, then at the mirror, and softly whispered, "I'll become that person again." He carefully placed the photograph inside his notebook, right next to the words 30-day challenge. It would remind him every single day why he started. But Ryan still didn't know that the biggest battle was no longer outside. It was about to begin inside his own mind. Day 18. Ryan opened his eyes before the alarm, before the sunrise. He smiled. This had once felt impossible. Now it felt normal. He got out of bed, made his bed, drank a glass of water, and quietly whispered, "Thank you." Not because life was perfect, but because he finally had another chance, another day, another opportunity to become better. Ryan finished his morning walk. The cold wind touched his face. He noticed something beautiful. The same roads, the same trees, the same sky had never changed. The only thing that had changed was him. When your mind changes, the world looks different. After breakfast, Ryan opened his notebook. The photograph of his younger self slipped onto the table. He picked it up, looked at it, and smiled. "I remember you. The boy who believed he could do anything." He gently placed the photograph back, then wrote one new sentence below his challenge: "I will never become a stranger to myself again." That afternoon, Ryan received an unexpected email. It was from a company. Months ago, he had applied for an interview. He had completely forgotten about it. The email said, "Your interview is tomorrow at 10 a.m. Ryan's heart started beating faster. Tomorrow. He wasn't ready. His old fear returned. What if I fail? What if they reject me? What if I'm not good enough? Negative thoughts filled his mind. Only a few weeks ago, those thoughts would have stopped him. But today, he smiled. Then quietly said, "Maybe I won't succeed, but I will show up." That one sentence changed everything. The next morning, Ryan wore his best shirt. It wasn't expensive, but it was clean. He looked into the mirror. For the first time, he wasn't trying to impress anyone. He only wanted to be honest. He took a deep breath, picked up his notebook, looked at the words, "Never quit," closed it, and walked out the door. The interview room was silent. 3 people sat across the table. Ryan felt nervous. His hands were shaking. The interviewer smiled. "Tell us about yourself." A month ago, Ryan would have panicked. Today, he simply smiled. "My name is Ryan. And for the first time, I'm learning how to keep promises to myself." The interviewers looked surprised. Ryan continued. I don't know if I'm the best candidate. But I know I'm becoming a better person every single day. The room became quiet. Not because his English was perfect. Not because his answers were perfect. But because they were honest. When the interview ended, Ryan walked outside. He had no idea whether he would get the job. But strangely, he wasn't worried. Because he realized something important. Winning isn't always getting the result. Sometimes winning means becoming brave enough to try. As Ryan walked home, his phone vibrated. A new message appeared. His heart skipped a beat. He slowly unlocked the screen. And what he read made him completely speechless. Ryan's hands started shaking. He looked at the message again. It read, "Congratulations. You have been selected for the final interview." Ryan couldn't believe it. A smile slowly appeared on his face. It wasn't a job offer. Not yet. But it was proof that showing up really mattered. He quietly looked up at the sky. Then whispered, "Thank you." Not because everything was perfect. But because he finally believed that his life was moving forward. Day 21. Ryan opened his notebook. 20 check marks. Only 10 days left. Just 10. He smiled. I've come too far to stop now. That afternoon, his phone vibrated. It was Amon. Bro. I've been watching you. You actually changed. Ryan laughed. No. I'm still changing. Amon stayed silent. Then he said, I started walking today. Just 15 minutes. Ryan smiled. How did it feel? Amon replied. Hard. But good. Ryan looked at the message. A small smile appeared on his face. He finally understood something important. People don't always follow your words. They follow your actions. Without realizing it, Ryan had inspired his first person. That evening, Ryan visited his grandfather. The old man was sitting quietly outside the house, watching the sunset. Ryan sat beside him. Neither of them spoke for a while. Then his grandfather smiled. You look different. Ryan laughed. I lost no weight. His grandfather shook his head. I'm not talking about your body. I'm talking about your eyes. They have hope again. Ryan looked down. His grandfather continued. Real change always begins inside. Ryan felt a lump in his throat. Those words stayed with him long after the conversation ended. That night, Ryan stood in front of the mirror. He remembered the boy who couldn't wake up. The boy who wasted hours. The boy who always said, tomorrow. That boy was slowly disappearing. Not because someone saved him, but because he finally decided to save himself. The next morning, Ryan noticed something strange. He no longer counted the days. He simply lived them. The challenge was no longer a challenge. It had become his lifestyle. He smiled. Maybe this was the real victory. Not reaching day 30, but becoming someone who didn't need a challenge to do the right thing. As Ryan walked back home, the wind blew through the streets. Everything looked peaceful. Everything felt different. But life still had one final test. One test that would decide whether these habits would stay forever or disappear. The moment the challenge ended. Day 30. The alarm rang. 6 a.m. Ryan opened his eyes. Before the second ring, he smiled. Not because the challenge was ending, but because this morning felt exactly like the last 29 mornings. He got out of bed, made his bed, drank a glass of water, put on his shoes, and stepped outside. The streets were still quiet. The sky was slowly turning orange. Ryan took a deep breath. Just 30 days ago, this same road had felt impossible. Today, it felt like home. He completed his morning walk, returned home, finished reading his 10 pages, drank his water, and quietly sat in front of his notebook. 29 check marks. Only one empty space remained. Ryan picked up his pen. He looked at that empty box for a few seconds. Then, with a gentle smile, he drew the final check mark. 30 days. Completed. He expected to feel excited. He expected to celebrate. But instead, he felt peaceful. Because he finally understood. The challenge was never about 30 days. It was about becoming the kind of person who keeps his promises. Just then, his mother walked in. She saw the notebook. She saw 30 perfect check marks. Then she looked at Ryan. There was silence. She slowly smiled. This time, there were tears in her eyes. She gently held his hand and softly said, "I'm proud of you." Ryan smiled. Then quietly replied, 30 days ago, you said you still believed in me. I didn't understand why. But now, I do." His mother hugged him. Neither of them said another word. Some moments don't need words. A few days later, Ryan received another email. His hands trembled as he opened it. The message read, "Congratulations. We are happy to offer you the position." Ryan closed his eyes. Not because he had finally found a job, but because he had finally found himself. The job was only a reward. The real victory had already happened. That evening, Ryan met Amon. The two friends went for a walk. Aman smiled. So, did 30 days change your life? Ryan laughed. Then looked at the sunset. No. 30 days didn't change my life. My daily choices did. The 30 days only proved that I could change. Aman stayed silent. Then smiled. I think it's my turn now. Ryan placed his hand on Aman's shoulder. It doesn't matter if you start small. It only matters that you start. Months later, Ryan was still waking up early. Still reading. Still exercising. Still keeping promises to himself. Because discipline was no longer something he practiced. It had become who he was. If you're watching this, remember one thing. You don't need a perfect Monday. You don't need a new month. You don't need the perfect time. You only need one decision, one promise, and the courage to keep it. If you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to like this video. Subscribe to the English Academy. Share this video with someone who needs a fresh start. And tell me in the comments if you had to change just one habit in the next 30 days. What would it be? Thank you for spending your time with us. Keep learning. Keep growing. And remember, your future is created by what you do today, not tomorrow. See you in the next inspiring story.